Australia, a land of breathtaking beauty and untamed wilderness, hides a darker side beneath its sunny skies. Scattered across this vast land are cemeteries, shrouded in mystery, where eerie whispers echo through the night and shadows move when no one is there. From ghostly apparitions to chilling legends of the past, these resting places hold secrets that refuse to stay buried. Are you brave enough to explore the stories of the 15 most haunted cemeteries in Australia? Stay with us as we uncover the spine-tingling tales that will leave you questioning what lies beyond the grave. 1. St. Bartholomew's Cemetery, Western Australia. St. Bartholomew's Cemetery is a tranquil resting place by day, but as night falls, an unsettling stillness descends. Built in the 19th century, it holds the graves of many early settlers. However, the most infamous tale is that of a priest who tragically lost his life during a lightning storm while visiting the cemetery. His spirit is said to wander the grounds, his faint silhouette visible under the moonlight. Visitors often report hearing low murmurs, as if prayers are being recited in the distance. The most chilling encounter involves the sound of heavy breathing near the chapel ruins, accompanied by an overwhelming sense of sorrow. Many believe the priest's soul remains, mourning those who were lost in his care. 2. Toowong Cemetery, Queensland. In the heart of Toowong Cemetery, the night air thickens with an unsettling presence. As darkness falls, the cemetery comes alive with spectral shadows. The spirits of those buried here, many victims of tragic accidents, are said to wander among the graves, unable to find peace. A few brave souls who ventured here after sundown have claimed to see figures moving between the headstones, their footsteps faint but unmistakable. The most chilling tale comes from a visitor who felt an icy hand brush their shoulder, only to turn and find nothing but the cold moonlight reflecting off the tombstones. Whispers of a woman in a white dress linger in the air, beckoning those who dare to cross her path. 3. Waverley Cemetery, New South Wales. The waves crash violently against the cliffs at Waverley Cemetery. But it's not just the sea that frightens the living. As dusk falls, the once peaceful resting place of Sydney's elite becomes a place of terror. The spirit of a grieving widow, her face hidden behind a veil, is said to appear near her husband's grave, weeping silently under the moonlight. Witnesses have reported hearing the soft rustle of her mourning gown as she glides through the tombstones. But it's the chilling laughter of a child, echoing between the graves, that has been known to paralyze even the bravest of souls. The unsettling sensation of being watched follows those who dare to visit at night. 4. Fremantle Cemetery, Western Australia. Fremantle Cemetery is a place of eerie silence and untold horrors. Beneath the darkened sky, those who wander its ancient paths report hearing footsteps behind them, though no one is there. Locals speak of a tall, shadowy figure who watches from the cemetery's oldest mausoleum, his hollow eyes filled with sorrow. The most chilling tale, however, involves a visitor who found themselves surrounded by thick fog and the sensation of being pulled towards the crypts. Their cries were lost to the wind, but the lingering cold touch on their shoulder remains etched in their memory. Some believe the souls of those who died in the early days of Fremantle have not left, cursed to roam the cemetery forever. 5. St. John's Cemetery, Tasmania. In the quiet, isolated expanse of St. John's Cemetery, an overwhelming sense of unease fills the air. Visitors describe a heavy feeling, as though the very earth beneath their feet is watching them. The spirits of early settlers, victims of untimely deaths, are said to haunt the cemetery, never truly resting. The sound of faint crying can be heard, coming from an unmarked grave at the far end of the cemetery. A pale, spectral woman has been spotted walking between the gravestones, her face twisted in grief. Those brave enough to approach the grave report feeling a sudden coldness, followed by an inexplicable urge to leave, as though the spirits themselves are urging them to flee. 6. Ballarat Cemetery, Victoria Ballarat Cemetery, once the final resting place of gold miners, is a place where the past refuses to remain buried. Visitors have spoken of hearing the clinking of pickaxes in the dead of night, as if the miners are still working their claims in the afterlife. One night, a curious traveler found themselves inexplicably drawn to a particular grave, its stone cracked and weathered. As they knelt to inspect the inscription, they heard a low, guttural growl, and the air grew thick with an unnatural cold. The traveler fled, only to see shadows dart between the gravestones, their movements quick and erratic. The spirits of the miners, it seems, never left. 7. Macquarie Park Cemetery, New South Wales. Macquarie Park Cemetery is a place where the past and present collide in chilling ways. As night falls, strange phenomena begin to occur. Visitors have reported hearing whispers in their ears, the sudden sensation of being followed, and glimpses of figures standing motionless in the dark. Most unsettling of all is the story of a woman who was seen walking towards the cemetery gates, her eyes vacant and her steps slow. But when approached, she vanished into the thickening fog. Her story, like so many here, remains a mystery, but some believe she is searching for someone, perhaps a lost loved one, or even her own forgotten grave. 8. Sandgate Cemetery, Queensland. Sandgate Cemetery's weathered stones stand as silent witnesses to countless lives lost. But it's the restless spirits of those buried here that make this place so terrifying. The cemetery's paths are said to shift underfoot, leading the lost further into its depths. Witnesses have claimed to see figures standing motionless at the graves, only to turn away and find them gone moments later. The most disturbing legend involves the restless soul of a child, whose mournful cries can be heard echoing through the night. Some claim to have seen a small, shadowy figure darting between the tombs, a flash of pale skin and empty eyes. No one knows who the child is, but their presence is undeniable. 9. Northern Suburbs, Crematorium Cemetery, New South Wales. The Northern Suburbs Crematorium Cemetery is infamous for its haunting atmosphere, especially after sundown. The silence here is thick, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves. Those who have visited in the dead of night report an eerie glow coming from the older graves, as if the souls of the departed are trying to communicate. A cold breeze sweeps through, and those nearby feel the sensation of being watched. There's one grave in particular, said to be that of a young woman, where the air turns icy cold, and strange whispers seem to rise from the earth. Some believe her spirit is trapped, forever searching for a way out. 10. Rookwood Cemetery, New South Wales. Rookwood Cemetery is known as the largest cemetery in Australia, but it is also one of the most haunted. Visitors to the cemetery at night have reported hearing footsteps echoing through the pathways, though no one is in sight. In some areas, the temperature drops dramatically, and the air feels thick with sorrow. A particularly disturbing tale comes from a visitor who stumbled upon a grave, only to see the ground shift and undulate beneath their feet. As they backed away, they saw a figure standing by the grave, its face obscured by shadows. The spirit is said to be a lost soul, trapped between the realms, forever seeking a way to move on. 11. Gungahlin Cemetery, Australian Capital Territory. Gungahlin Cemetery is a modern resting place, but its calm exterior hides a dark history. The land is said to have been cursed long before the cemetery was established. At night, a shadowy figure is often spotted near the older graves, moving silently among the headstones. Witnesses have described a sudden drop in temperature, followed by the faint sound of bells chiming in the still air. The most terrifying tale involves a man who visited the cemetery late one evening and was overwhelmed by a blinding flash of light. When his vision returned, he found himself surrounded by faint, glowing orbs hovering near the graves. Shaken, he fled, only to hear faint whispers calling his name as he reached the gates. 12. Kangaroo Valley Cemetery, New South Wales. Kangaroo Valley Cemetery is shrouded in an eerie silence that feels suffocating, especially at night. The spirits of those who lived and died here long ago are said to roam the valley, whispering among the graves. One night, a lone traveler was drawn to a particular gravestone, its inscription worn by time. As they knelt to read it, a figure appeared in the distance, walking slowly toward them. The figure's movements were jerky, unnatural. The traveler felt a cold hand brush their shoulder, and when they turned around, no one was there. They fled, but the sound of slow footsteps followed them as they ran. 13. Mortuary Station Cemetery, New South Wales. The Mortuary Station Cemetery is steeped in dark history, having once been the final stop for many who passed away in Sydney. Those who visit this place at night often hear the creaking of the old mortuary doors, opening and closing, though no one is there to move them. Strange shadows appear on the walls, and whispers of long-dead mourners echo through the air. It's said that the souls of those who traveled here in life are still present, their restless spirits unable to move on. One of the most chilling accounts comes from a man who reported seeing the reflection of a funeral procession in the station's windows, though there was no one there. 14. St. Andrew's Cemetery, South Australia. St. Andrew's Cemetery is a place of quiet beauty, but it hides dark secrets beneath its serene exterior. Late at night, those who pass by have reported hearing strange noises, footsteps, whispers, and the occasional distant scream. Some claim to have seen the figure of a man in tattered clothing, walking along the paths, only to vanish when approached. A particularly eerie tale comes from a visitor who found a grave surrounded by fresh flowers, only to hear the sound of muffled sobbing nearby. When they looked around, they saw nothing but empty tombstones. But the sobbing continued, echoing through the night. 15. Tarcutta Cemetery, New South Wales. Tarcutta Cemetery is a haunting place, its isolated location adding to the sense of dread that surrounds it. The spirits of those who have passed here are said to remain, unable to move on. Visitors who walk the cemetery's winding paths have reported feeling a heavy, oppressive air pressing down on them. The most terrifying encounter involves a traveler who found themselves standing before an old, crumbling grave. As they stood there, they saw the figure of a woman appear in the distance, walking toward them. Her face was hidden, but her presence was palpable. As she drew closer, the traveler's heart raced, and suddenly she vanished without a trace. The cemetery remains one of the most unsettling places in the area. As the night deepens and the last story fades, one question remains. Are these cemeteries truly haunted, or is it just our imagination playing tricks in the dark? Whether you believe in ghosts or not, one thing is certain. Australia's cemeteries hold a chilling beauty that leaves an unforgettable mark on all who visit. So, which of these haunted places would you dare to explore? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more spine-chilling tales from around the world. Until next time, stay curious, and remember, some stories never rest.